So I understand you spent some time in India.
Yeah.
When was that? Where does that fit in?
That was that summer after my first year in Rome and my second year in Rome. So when we were asked not to go back to the United States. So that's really the only stipulation you have that summer. There's no more classes, and they're like, you can't go back to the United States. But so we ask you to kind of build your own summer, make it formative, something that'll be memorable for you, and take advantage of the fact that you could be anywhere in the world. And some guys had gone to India, Calcutta, India, where Mother Teresa was and where she started her religious order of the Missionaries of Charity.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. So myself and 5 others from my class, we went over there, and I was there for 5 weeks, and we just had some, it was probably the best experience and the most formative experience for me in seminary. And we get there, and it was crazy. I mean, we kind of lived very simple lives. We lived with some sisters, and there's no air conditioning anywhere, so you're kind of sleeping, and it's like monsoon season, very hot, humid, kind of like Houston with no air conditioning. So you're sweating through the night.
So how does that start? How do you decide to go there? Do you contact somebody in Calcutta? Do you send an email or give them a call, or do you get an endorsement?
Yeah. So we went and stayed with some other sisters. The Missionaries of Charities don't have places for people to stay. So we found some other sisters. We contacted them, and then we basically got housing. But with the Missionaries of Charity, they're just like, anyone can come and volunteer. So you just show up and you say, I'm going to here to volunteer.
So you can just knock on the door and.
Basically, yeah, it's pretty simple. And I suggest it to anybody, just go to Calcutta, go and serve for 5 weeks. You find a place to stay and stay for a while. And so we went, and in the mornings we would, I went to a place called Premdon, and it was a place for like the home for a dying. And so there's about 300 people that they had found on the streets and brought in. You take care of them. And so I was just doing really simple tasks of clipping their fingernails, washing the floors, making their beds, feeding them. These men who just are, because of illness and whatnot, can't take care of themselves anymore. So you just hang out with them for about 4 hours doing work, dishes, and the like. And then in the break for lunch, and then in the afternoon, I was at this place called Diadon, which is a place that Mother opened, an orphanage that she opened for kids who are disabled, either mentally or physically or both. And so in the afternoon, they had finished their school, and so we just go and hang out and play and with the kids and feed them. And it was
a lot
beautiful.
of people speak English.
Yeah, so the sisters, that's their language that they speak to each other. The Missionaries of Charity, even in India.
Okay.
They speak English to each other. That's the language of their order. That Mother Teresa had decided to do English because it's a very universal language.
Okay.
And she knew she would be spreading. I guess she just had a sense from God that she would be spreading over the world. And so she decided to make English her language. And so you can communicate with them. And then they teach their kids English. And a lot of people in India speak English. So it was pretty easy to get around, to do the things. And
not as difficult as Rome.
No, yeah. So it was good. I mean, I stuck out like a sore thumb in India way more than I did in Rome. I mean, they're like, "What are you doing here?" And so that for sure was different. But no, it was an incredibly spiritual experience for me. The sisters, they understand that when you're serving the poor, you're really serving Jesus Christ, as it talks about in Matthew 25.
Mm-hmm.
What you did for the least of my brothers, you did for me. And they really believe, they've started their order based on that scripture passage. And so even in adoration, we say these at the end called the divine praises. And one of them is, blessed be God in the most holy sacrament of the altar. And they add a divine praise right after that. And they say, we say, blessed be Jesus Christ in the most holy sacrament of the altar. They say, blessed be Jesus Christ in the poorest of the poor. And that just sums up their life.
Blessed be Jesus Christ in the poorest of the poor.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's their ministry. They would, they have mass at 6 a.m. They pray 3 holy hours a day. They pray a lot. They spend a lot of time with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. But they also, there's not really a disconnect. They spend time with Jesus, and then they go serve Jesus their whole day in the poor. And that was for real. There was this one kid who was in India, and his name was Santu. And and it was really difficult to get to feed. And I had to feed him, and he's like, yeah. I was getting a taste of what it's like for parents trying to feed their kids.
How old was he?
He was probably like maybe 6, but he had a mental disability, so he
Okay.
was. You had to feed him, and you had to tie him down, and so he's going like this, and just. But when I would sing, and I'd sing, I just had this idea to sing his name, and when I'd sing, he kind of calmed down, and I was singing. Sanctus, Sanctus, which is like a mass part for Sanctus, which is like holy, holy. And you sing it right before the Eucharist starts. And that was a moment that kind of woke me up, where it was actually very fitting that I was singing Sanctus at that moment, because it was Jesus there. And I was singing to him, and like he is holy because Jesus is present with him. And so, there's just a lot of those moments, a lot of those.
Did it hit you at that time?
It did, yeah. It really did. When I was singing that, and I was just kind of like, oh, wow, this is real, and this is, I guess I had a moment where I was kind of like, oh, maybe this is not good to be singing. Like, I was like, this is inappropriate. But then I was like, no, actually, this is the most appropriate time to sing it outside of the Mass, is to the poorest of the poor.
So when it hits you, is it overwhelming? Is it uplifting? What does it feel like when it hits you?
Yeah, I guess an overwhelming sense of peace, I would say. Just an overwhelming sense of, wow, this is really Jesus. And I really think that, and I believe it. It's not, I believe Jesus is present in the Eucharist, and now I really believe he's present in the poor. And it just, that intimate connection was pretty amazing when I would just come to prayer in the evening and spend an hour with him in the Eucharist, to all of a sudden be like, I spent all day with you serving, and now we're just getting to know each other in prayer. And I think that's, and it really related for me, like the priesthood. That's what I feel like the priesthood, when I'm serving the people of God, it's not, I'm really serving Jesus Christ. I'm serving the body of Christ, which is the people of God. And so, there's not that much disconnect from prayer and service. You have to have both, but there's not that much disconnect.
Do you have a journal entry about that when it first happened, or did you call your parents?
No, so all of us, we all 5 of us that were together, we had this practice of, in the evenings, we'd come together, and by the time Holy Hour had happened, we had to be back for an 8 p.m. curfew with the sisters.
Okay.
And we missed dinner. So what we would do is, when you go over there, we had been told, like, bring a bunch of Cliff Bars because you won't be able to eat dinner. So we would just eat our Cliff Bars like dinner, and we would go around in what we called sharing graces, and just like a moment of grace.
Like a debrief.
Yeah, a little debriefing in the end of the day. And so I just shared that with them, and I wrote about it in my evaluation that I had to write for the end of the summer and submit to the seminary. But yeah, that was incredibly powerful for me.
That's amazing how Jesus reaches out to you through that child.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome. I just had a lot of really good moments like that, and just a recognition of what Mother Teresa was really doing. And how.
When you're in that moment, do you think, wow, all of this sacrifice, this is what it's all about. Everything that I've gone through, the difficulty in the first year in Rome, did all that just kind of feel worth it?
Yeah, that's exactly how I would put it. It just feels like, yes, this is it. This is the invitation the Lord has given me, just to be able to serve him for my whole life, to be in some ways, paid to serve him, to work for his church.
Do you go back to Rome telling all the newer seminarians, the first year ones who are coming in, hey, go to Calcutta?
I do. Yeah. It's hard. I lost 15 pounds. I got sick when I was there. I got scabies.
Because you have to get used to the water. You have to get used to
exactly. And so I got the most sick I've ever been in my life over there. Like, if I was in the States, I probably would have gone to the hospital, but you just go trust the hospitals over there. But, and then, I ended up coming back with scabies. So, I mean, it's pretty insane what you have to deal with.
So you went from Rome to Calcutta. You spent 5 weeks there. Then you jump back into classes once you get back.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's right into your second year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's is it tiring?
It is. It is. But it's actually like it's pretty rejuvenating, I would say, because like I said, the summers were those times that I really felt the Lord was affirming my vocation, and so although it might have been like a lot of like I didn't get much rest of work wise, I felt rejuvenated in my mission and my sense of what I was supposed to be doing, and that just gives you a lot more desire and motivation to continue pursuing the priesthood.
Do you think it would have been different had you gone somewhere else?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I had thought about going to the Holy Land and learning Hebrew and trying to learn some of these biblical languages to learn that stuff, and I think that would have been fine, but my spiritual director was like, "Why don't you pray about that some more?" And then I felt the Lord drawing me to Calcutta, and I think that would have been pretty close to detrimental had I gone and studied for the whole summer. I mean, it's great to learn the languages, but I needed time of ministry. And so, yeah, and I think I've learned things in Calcutta that I just wouldn't be able to learn other places. So
now that you're looking ahead,
yeah,
so you've spent the last 4 months here at St. Faustina, you're preparing to go back to Rome. How much you've got that last year in Rome, correct?
yeah.
So after that last year in Rome, what happens next for you?
I'll be back in the diocese. So I'll be back here, and the cardinal will assign me to somewhere, most likely just to a parish as a parochial vicar, like Father David Michael, and I'll serve. And
so do you have a tentative date for your ordination?
June 5th, 2021.
All right. So there's an actual date already, not just it's in June sometime. No, but it's
June 5th.
June 5th, 2021. Okay, we'll mark that down on our calendar.
Please do. It's pretty unique. It's actually June 5th is my birthday, so I'm getting ordained on my birthday, which will be pretty exciting.
Okay, so that's why you remember it. It's just it's an easy
I know
easy
the
date to
Lord
remember.
has been blessed me, so I don't have to remember 2 dates when I'm
It's because you had Good Friday when you talked to Father Dad, and then
so it's been easy.
It's been easy. So June 5th, do you have any idea where you may be sent as a parochial vicar?
No idea. Yeah, no idea. So
do you get to kind of like, in the military, I prefer this particular, like my dad, he was in the Navy, and he first choice was Hawaii.
Oh wow.
So and we ended up in Hawaii. That's how I grew up in Hawaii. Do you have that kind of a choice, or is it all just completely out of your hands?
No, it's not. I don't think it's completely out of your hands. Now, maybe I need to make clarification. When I have one more year, that's actually after I'm a priest. So I have 2 more years in Rome. So I'll be ordained a priest next summer. Then I'll have a break, and then I'll have to finish my degree because I'm getting a higher degree than most priests get, so that I could then teach at the seminary and teach future priests as well.
Okay, so normally after that year, a priest would come back and be ordained, but you're going to be there for an extra year.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're looking at 2 years.
2 years from now, before I will be back in the diocese working. Yeah, but at that point, it'll be just completely up to, like, there's a personnel board, a board of priests who decide and make a recommendation for the cardinal where I go. But they interview you, and you could tell them, like, I would really like this type of parish. I would love to have a school, or I'd love to be at a parish where there was Hispanic ministry, or whatever, you feel like would be good for you, or a pastor that was supportive, or a pastor like this. And you just kind of.
So what are you thinking about?
I'm saying St. Faustina. Whatever you can do, give me a St. Faustina. Yeah.
Well, 2 years is a ways away, so a lot can happen within 2 years.
Exactly. It's kind of hard to know where I'll be in 2 years. It just depends a lot of where other people are, and what the diocese needs, and where they need priests.
So that summer in between this coming year and that final year for you, that extra year.
Yeah.
What do you have planned for that?
That's actually a little bit up in the air. We'll see. Usually people, when they go to, like, when they're in doing the kind of program I'm doing, you just spend a summer in the parish. So it's kind of like what I did here at St. Faustina, but you do it as a priest. And so you just kind of spend a summer of ministry. I, on the other hand, really would like to get some Spanish more Spanish.
Okay.
And so I might go down to Mexico and learn Spanish. I might ask if I can do that. So we'll see. Whatever the diocese at that point, all that stuff is out of my hands. I just make recommendations, and they'll do what they want. And
So Italian, you're like, okay, I've got that now. Let's move on to Spanish, huh?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, a lot more people speak Spanish here than Italian, unfortunately. So I have to learn another language. But
So what? No chance you're going to come back to St. Faustina?
I mean, there could be. You never know. It's yeah. I mean, it's usually once you've been there for a summer, it's unlikely you'll come back. But you never know. It's happened before, so it could happen again.